Merlin stands as the archetype of wizarding greatness. Living during the medieval era, he shaped magical and non-magical history alike. Even centuries later, wizards still invoke his name as the standard of power. Merlin's dueling skill was feared across Britain, though his real strength lay in his magical breadth. He studied charms, transfiguration, alchemy, and magical lore, advancing them all. Where others mastered one field, Merlin mastered nearly everything available in his time. His originality cemented his legacy. He is credited with enchantments that shaped magical society for centuries and pioneered legal protections for Muggle-borns, the foundation of modern wizarding lore. Few others created magic so enduring. Merlin's influence was unmatched. He advised kings, founded the Order of Merlin, and left behind traditions that still dictate honor in the wizarding world. His combination of raw skill and political presence allowed him to shape entire societies. His resilience lay in surviving an era of instability when superstition and persecution made magic dangerous. Merlin endured, taught, and institutionalized magic, securing its survival. Why Merlin was powerful. Dueling dominated the medieval era. Breadth studied and advanced nearly every magical field. Originality created enchantments and legal traditions still recognized today. Influence guided monarchs, founded institutions, defined wizarding honor. Resilience preserved wizarding society during one of its most unstable eras. Salazar Slytherin was one of Hogwarts' 4 founders, and his vision of wizarding society shaped centuries. He wasn't just a teacher. He was a strategist, builder, and innovator whose influence reached far beyond his lifetime. Slytherin's dueling strength was respected even among peers like Godric Gryffindor. He specialized in defensive and offensive curses, making him one of the deadliest wizards of his age. His ability to weave combat magic into long-lasting enchantments proved his depth of skill. His breadth was focused but precise. Slytherin excelled in defensive charms, cursecraft, and warding. Most notably, he was a parselmouth, able to speak to snakes. This talent gave him a unique magical edge, enabling his creation of the Basilisk Guardian in the Chamber of Secrets. Originality defined him. The chamber itself was a feat of magical engineering, concealed, self-sustaining, and enchanted to open only for his true heir. It displayed foresight and creativity few others matched. Slytherin's influence endures in the Slytherin house legacy. His values, ambition, cunning, resourcefulness, continue shaping young witches and wizards. Even his prejudice against Muggle-borns became a defining tension in magical society, fueling divisions long after his death. Resilience marked his departure from Hogwarts. Faced with irreconcilable conflict, Slytherin chose exile rather than compromise, proving his determination to preserve his ideals, even in solitude. Why Salazar Slytherin was powerful. Dueling, respected even by Gryffindor. Breadth, parselmouth, master of curses and wards. Originality engineered the Chamber of Secrets and Basilisk Guardian. Influence shaped wizarding culture through Slytherin House and its ideals. Resilience maintained his beliefs despite isolation. Godric Gryffindor embodied courage and combat mastery. As one of Hogwarts' 4 founders, he was both warrior and leader, setting a standard for bravery and direct action in wizarding life. In dueling, Gryffindor excelled. He was famed for swordplay and spellcraft, able to seamlessly blend magical and physical combat. His fighting style was aggressive yet controlled, making him one of the most feared duelists of his time. His breadth of magic included charms, defensive wards, and transfiguration. Gryffindor was not as scholarly as Ravenclaw, but his strength lay in practical magic. Spells tested in real battle. His originality shines through the sword of Gryffindor, crafted by goblins but imbued with his enchantments. The sword absorbs substances that make it stronger, like basilisk venom, making it one of the most enduring magical artifacts in history. Gryffindor's influence extended through his founding values. He championed bravery, honor, and defense of the weak. These ideals shaped generations of witches and wizards, creating a culture of selfless resistance in times of conflict. His resilience came from direct confrontation. Unlike Slytherin, who favored secrecy, Gryffindor faced enemies openly. His strength lay in enduring battle after battle, preserving Hogwarts as a safe haven. Why Godric Gryffindor was powerful. Dueling combined sword and spell combat seamlessly. Breadth skilled in practical magic for real conflict. Originality enchanted the sword of Gryffindor into a lasting artifact. Influence defined courage as a cultural cornerstone of Hogwarts. Resilience defended Hogwarts through direct and relentless combat. Albus Dumbledore was widely regarded as the greatest wizard of his age. His strength was not brute force alone, but the ability to combine overwhelming magical talent with intelligence, restraint, and leadership. His dueling mastery was legendary. The 1945 battle with Grindelwald, where he defeated the Elder Wand's master, became the defining duel of the century. What set Dumbledore apart was adaptability. He could counter, redirect, or unravel spells as if predicting opponents' moves before they cast them. Even Voldemort, unmatched in the dark arts, considered Dumbledore the only wizard he ever feared. His breadth of magic was unrivaled. Dumbledore excelled in transfiguration, charms, alchemy, and defensive enchantments. He performed wandless and wordless magic with ease, a skill almost no one else achieved. His work with Nicolas Flamel showed deep knowledge of magical sciences, while his protective enchantments around the Philosopher's Stone displayed unmatched ingenuity. Originality was central to his genius. He created magical devices like the Deluminator, pioneered experimental spells, and used Fawkes the Phoenix not just as a companion, but as a magical advantage. His enchantments were layered, subtle, and often impossible to dismantle. Dumbledore's influence extended far beyond combat. As headmaster, leader of the Order of the Phoenix, and political figure, he shaped wizarding society for decades. His authority inspired loyalty, even in the darkest times. Resilience was his final strength. Marked by personal tragedy and guilt, Dumbledore endured and turned his scars into wisdom. His power lay not just in spells, but in how he used them. Why Albus Dumbledore was powerful. Dueling defeated Grindelwald despite the Elder Wand. Breadth mastered nearly every branch of magic, including wandless casting. Originality created magical devices and complex protections. Influence guided Hogwarts, the Order, and wizarding politics. Resilience endured personal tragedy and turned it into lasting strength. Gellert Grindelwald was one of the most dangerous dark wizards in history, rivaled only by Voldemort. Unlike Voldemort, who relied on fear and cruelty, Grindelwald wielded charisma and vision, convincing thousands to follow him willingly. His dueling skill was unmatched until Dumbledore opposed him. Grindelwald's speed, precision, and creativity in combat gave him the upper hand against nearly every opponent. His mastery of the Elder Wand made him nearly unstoppable. His breadth of magic was vast. Grindelwald studied charms, transfiguration, alchemy, and especially dark arts. He created wards and enchantments strong enough to defend Nurmengard, his fortress prison, from attacks for decades. His originality set him apart. Grindelwald engineered new spells and tactics suited for mass conflict, conjuring illusions, binding enemies en masse, and combining offensive and defensive magic in ways designed for war. Grindelwald's influence defined his power. He rallied an international movement, convincing witches and wizards that muggles should live under wizarding rule for the greater good. His speeches, propaganda, and charisma built an empire spanning Europe. Resilience carried him through defeat. Though captured, he withstood imprisonment for decades. Even Voldemort feared what Grindelwald still knew, showing that his presence lingered as a threat long after his fall. Why Gellert Grindelwald was powerful. Dueling, near unmatched until Dumbledore's intervention. Breadth, wide-ranging knowledge, fortified Nurmengard with advanced wards. Originality, invented spells and tactics for large-scale battle. Influence built a global movement through persuasion and ideology. Resilience withstood imprisonment and remained feared by Voldemort. Lord Voldemort, born Tom Riddle, was the most feared dark wizard of the modern era. His strength came not only from magical ability, but from how he turned fear itself into a weapon. His very name spread panic, extending his reach before a duel began. His dueling was relentless. Voldemort fought with speed, precision, and cruelty, overwhelming opponents within moments. Unlike most duelists, he poured maximum force into every exchange, breaking rivals quickly. His unpredictability, switching from killing curses to serpentine conjurations or fire chains, kept even masters off balance. His breadth of magic was vast. He mastered charms, transfiguration, potions, and most notably, the dark arts. His knowledge of Horcruxes gave him a form of immortality no other wizard dared attempt, while his affinity with serpents expanded his reach into magical communication beyond human limits. Voldemort's originality made him uniquely dangerous. He twisted existing spells into lethal forms and created curses designed for psychological and physical torment. His bond with Nagini, both servant and Horcrux, blurred the line between beast and master. His influence reshaped wizarding society. Through the Death Eaters, he built a cult of fear, enforcing obedience through violence and ideology. Entire institutions, including the Ministry and Hogwarts, bent under his rise. Resilience anchored his legend. Even when his body was destroyed in 1981, fragments of his soul endured. For more than a decade, he survived in a weakened state, proving his refusal to accept death was itself a terrifying strength. Why Voldemort was powerful. Dueling, relentless, unpredictable, aggressive. Breadth. Mastered many branches, including Horcruxes. Originality. Created and refined dark magic. Influence. Ruled through terror and ideology. Resilience. Survived bodily destruction. Severus Snape was not the strongest wizard in raw power, but his unique mastery of subtle arts placed him among the most dangerous of his time. His strength came from precision, intellect, and the rare ability to deceive even Voldemort. His dueling was efficient and controlled. Snape favored quick counters and sudden strikes over spectacle, often ending fights before opponents realized what hit them. Matching Minerva McGonagall in the Great Hall showed his ability to stand against the best duelists alive. His breadth of skill was formidable. Snape was an undisputed master of potions, improving standard recipes and inventing his own. His command of occlumency and legilimency was unmatched, shielding his thoughts even from Voldemort. In defensive magic, he was skilled enough to hold off multiple attackers at once, proving his versatility extended well beyond the classroom. Originality set him apart. He created spells like Sectum Sempra and Levicorpus, which became powerful tools in combat, alongside restorative charms such as Vulnera Sanintur. His creativity demonstrated a deeper understanding of magical theory than most of his peers or professors. Snape's influence shaped the outcome of the Second Wizarding War. As a double agent, he controlled vital information, guiding both sides without exposure. His secret loyalty to Dumbledore proved decisive in Voldemort's eventual defeat. Resilience defined his life. He endured ridicule, isolation, and suspicion, yet survived years under Voldemort's scrutiny without breaking. His ability to weaponize pain into determination made him one of the most remarkable figures in the wizarding world. Why Snape was powerful. Dueling, precise and efficient. Breadth, master of potions, occlumency, defensive magic. Originality, created new combat and healing spells. Influence, controlled events as a double agent. Resilience, endured constant danger and suspicion. Harry Potter's power was not defined by advanced spell work or encyclopedic knowledge, but by resilience, instinct, and the ability to change the course of history. He was not the most technically skilled wizard, yet his influence and survival placed him among the most powerful of his era. His dueling ability developed through necessity. By his teens, Harry had fought trolls, basilisks, dementors, and Death Eaters. He survived multiple encounters with Voldemort, often relying on reflex, courage, and improvisation. His signature reliance on the disarming charm reflected both his instincts and his refusal to kill, yet it ultimately defeated Voldemort in their final duel. His breadth of magic was narrower than Dumbledore or Snape's, but in defensive magic he excelled. Harry's mastery of the Patronus charm at a young age set him apart, as even adult witches and wizards struggled with it. His rare Parseltongue ability also gave him access to knowledge and magical connections unavailable to most. While not inventive in spell creation, Harry's originality lay in adaptability and leadership. He co-founded Dumbledore's army, teaching peers to resist Voldemort's regime, multiplying his impact far beyond his own wand. His influence was enormous. From surviving the killing curse as a baby to leading the resistance at Hogwarts, Harry became a living symbol of hope. Above all, Harry's resilience defined him. He endured neglect, loss, and constant danger, yet faced death willingly and returned to fight. His strength was not just in spells, but in his will to never yield. Why Harry was powerful? Dueling, courage and instinct in high-stakes combat. Breadth, mastered defensive magic. Rare Parseltongue. Originality, adaptive, inspired collective resistance. Influence, symbol of hope and defiance. Resilience, survived against impossible odds. When comparing the greatest witches and wizards, common traits emerge. Using dueling skill, breadth of magic, originality, influence, and resilience as markers, we can place them into tiers of power. At the very top stands Merlin, a legendary figure whose legacy shaped wizarding culture for a millennium. In the modern era, Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald represent the peak of known magical power, equals in combat, innovators in magic, and leaders who shaped global society. Just below is Lord Voldemort, unmatched in dark magic and resilience, but limited by obsession and an inability to inspire loyalty through anything but fear. The founders, Salazar Slytherin and Godric Gryffindor, follow closely. Their mastery of combat and magical construction, seen in the Chamber of Secrets and the Sword of Gryffindor, ensured their power resonated across centuries. Figures of subtler strength include Severus Snape and Minerva McGonagall. Snape's originality, resilience, and unmatched occlumency let him shape events from the shadows, while McGonagall's mastery of transfiguration and leadership kept Hogwarts safe through 2 wars. Finally, Harry Potter stands as the outlier. He lacked the technical mastery of others, but embodied resilience and influence. His survival of the killing curse and willingness to sacrifice himself made him the one Voldemort could not conquer. Patterns of power, innovation, and legacy define greatness. Influence multiplies strength, as Grindelwald and Harry prove. Resilience separates legends from footnotes. True power takes many forms: destructive, creative, or symbolic. Wizarding power, then, is measured not just in spells, but in legacies left behind.